Hi everybody, welcome back to Hunt Hill at Home. Today's topic is very important when you're thinking about survival, and the topic is water, and specifically finding clean water to drink. So, I've got some water here that I got from my kitchen, so I know that it's safe to drink. But what do you do when you're out in the wild and you don't know where the water is coming from and whether it's safe to drink? We're going to talk about that today, and we're going to actually build something called a solar still. This is something that you can build in your own home, and it's a pretty cool way to use some science to get some clean water. Now, I'm going to wait for a few more people to start watching, but I'll go over some of the things that you'll need to do this at home. So one thing you're going to need is a small container. It can be a cup, it can be whatever. This is a little yogurt cup. You're also going to need a sheet of plastic. Let me get my sheet of plastic. Here's the sheet of plastic. And this needs to be big enough to cover a sizable hole that you're digging in the ground. It can just be a plastic bag or a tarp or something. Clear plastic is best. And then you're going to need something to dig with. You can use, I've got an actual shovel, but you can use a little spade. If you were out in the wild, you could also use something like a rock or a stick to help you dig. But I'm going to be easy on myself and let myself use a shovel. So, I'm hoping you're ready for the joke of the day. This joke of the day goes out to my coworkers and the board of directors because it is about being hired. This is a fake joke. It's not a real story. So, when I was interviewing to have this position, I was starting to pour myself a drink of water. And I poured and poured until the cup was full, and I kept on pouring. And Nikki laughed and said, "Are you nervous?" And I said, "No, I always give 110%. All right, let's get started. So, you're out in the wilderness and you're lost. You don't have a source of water. What are you going to do? Well, water is a very important thing to have. And we were talking about the rule of threes yesterday. We know that you need air within 3 minutes. You need shelter within 3 hours. Water is our next priority. You need to drink water within 3 days. And so we need to make sure that we have a source of water so we can get it frequently. Now you might be thinking to yourself, "Sage, I've gone days without drinking water, and I was totally fine." And that might be true, but you probably drank something else like milk or juice or pop. All of those things are mostly water. Even if you didn't have a drink in those days, you probably had some very watery foods, like fruit has a lot of water in it, sauces have a lot of water in them. So you're probably still getting a lot of water even if you're not drinking pure water like this. But pure water is great for you, and it's something that's necessary in the wild. So, we don't usually have a problem finding water in the north and the Midwest out here. We've got lakes all over the place. There is a lake just behind me. There's a lake right over there. There's a lake right over there. I could find tons of lakes. But the problem is I can't drink straight out of those lakes because it's not safe. If I drink straight from those lakes, there's a chance of me getting a bacteria or a parasite like Giardia. And Giardia is a parasite that gives you a lot of symptoms like things like diarrhea and throwing up. That's not great for you when you're in a survival situation. You would lose a lot of water and you would get dehydrated even faster if you get sick. So you don't want to get sick when you're surviving. So you want to drink something that you know is clean and pure. The easiest way to find something clean and pure is to gather rainwater. Now, I'll show you the science behind why rainwater is clean. Let me grab my board. So, here's my little diagram of water. Here's a little lake or a puddle here. And this lake or puddle is probably filled with lots of different bacteria and parasites and little microorganisms that you can't see. So it might look clean, but it is still a little dirty. Now what happens is the sun shines down on it, and some of the water molecules will vaporize, which is called evaporation. They will evaporate, and they're going to go up into the sky, and they'll form a little cloud. Sorry, folks. My phone fell over. So they form a little cloud. Then, as the cloud forms, this is called condensation. It's turning back into the water molecules that we know that are liquid. And when it gets heavy enough, it will start to rain down back onto the land. This is called our water cycle. Now, you might be wondering, Sage, what if it doesn't rain? How am I going to get water then? If it's a nice and sunny day, you can use this, and you can use the science of this to collect your own water in the solar still. So you're actually going to be using the power of the sun to collect your water. How it works is first you have to dig a hole. And I started digging a hole before you guys were watching, so you wouldn't have to watch me dig for too long. And let's see if you can see my hole right here. I'm standing in it. It's kind of hard to see from there. Then you take a little cup and you're going to put it at the bottom of the hole, the lowest level in the hole. So I'll take it right here, set it in there. Next, you take your plastic, and this plastic is going to have to hold any water inside. So I'm going to put this plastic on top so it's totally covering the hole. Then I need some rocks or heavy things to hold down the sides of the plastic so it doesn't fly away or let any water out. Finally, I need a spot for all of this to collect up and to drop down into that cup. So I'm going to take a rock or something heavy and I'm going to put it on the plastic right on top of where the cup is. Sorry, it's not that windy out, but it's just windy enough that it keeps on blowing it over a little bit. All right, I've got my rock here, and I'm setting it right there. That way we're using gravity to hold that plastic down. Now, I'll show you what this looks like in my diagram form. So, here we go. Here is the hole that I dug, and the cup I set in there, and here's our little sheet of plastic. And then here's the rock that is making the plastic go lower in one spot. Now, what happens is just like before, the sun's beating down on this area, and it is warming up all these little water molecules that are in the dirt. Now, we didn't have any standing water. There could be standing water. You could do this in a puddle, but you don't need to. Now, these things are not clean. There might be parasites, there might be bacteria in the dirt, and that's okay because the water molecules are going to turn into a little vapor. They are going to evaporate, and then they're going to go up and they're going to stick to the underside of this plastic. And they're going to condensate right there. Now, the gravity is going to do the rest of the work. All these little water droplets are going to go down to this one spot, and they're going to drip into the cup. Over time, we'll have a little puddle right inside the cup there that we can use to drink. So, I hope you learned a little bit about water and how you can get your own distilled water using the power of the sun in a solar still today. There are lots of other ways to clean water, and we're going to talk about that a little bit tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about fire building strategies, and fire is another great way to make sure your water is clean to drink because you can boil the water and kill off those microorganisms. So I hope you join me tomorrow when we talk about fire and fire building, and have a nice rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Bye.